You're listening to the Current Plays Podcast, Season 3, Episode 16, Trickerion, Legends of Illusion. Now please welcome your hosts, Jordan and Thomas. And welcome back, magnificent listeners. This week we are talking Trickerion, Legends of Illusion by Mindclash Games. This one's designed by Richard Amon and Victor Peter. Keep looking over at the box lid. With art by Vilo Farkas. And this one, it's a Mindclash game, so it's pretty great. Yep. Actually, when we played it, I realized I went to log the play and I'm like, wait, we've only played this one time before? You're like, yeah. And I'm like, that's uncanny. How is this possible?
It's such a great game, and I feel like it would benefit from playing, like you'd pick up quite the strategies from repeat plays. And yeah,
Yeah.
this was time number 2.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites, so it's really difficult for me to understand how I haven't gotten it out more. I
Mm,
did try and play the base version with my wife once, and she didn't enjoy it very much.
yeah.
Um, it's not her type of game. It's a bit of a heavier one.
Yeah, lots of planning.
Yeah. So in this one, yeah, I wish I had a better picture up so I could remember everything. But in this one, you play illusionists, magicians, right? Stage magicians. And there's a whole big story to this world of this game. It's crazy, but um, basically, yeah, the city of Magoria, I think is how you say it, has a benefactor, Dalgard,
I
and
remember
he's
this.
he
Yeah.
uh he owns the Trickerion stone, which imbues him with special powers, basically, that helps him be a stage magician and not a not like a mage. So gives him supernatural powers. But anyway,
To
um,
do the mundane.
yeah. So he vanishes for years, and then four magicians are called to learn his tricks or whatever. So the board is basically set out as this city, and there's three large theaters in the city, and you work your way up from the smaller theaters to the big grand Magoria theater. Um, there's it's a worker placement primarily, and you've got different areas of the board with different action spots on them. And you've got the downtown, which has three pretty big actions on it. One is to hire more people, more workers. One is like Dalgard's residence, where you go to learn new tricks, and one is the bank, where you go to get money. Once you've learned tricks, or before you learn tricks, but to go along with the tricks, you have to go to the market area. Can't remember exactly what that's called, but I think it's market, right?
Yes, I think it is. Yeah.
Where you go to purchase the gear you need to perform your tricks. So it starts off with basic glass, wood, metal, and paper, I think, for you to craft your various illusions out of. And then there's three different levels of components that match three different levels of trick. And it goes up to things like oil and saws, and up to mirrors and disguises, I think, are
Yeah.
some of the
Yep.
components to give you an idea, right? And then there is your workshop, where you basically build your tricks, prepare your tricks, it calls it. And then there's the theater, where you go to actually perform your tricks on stage. There's also what they call an expansion or a mini expansion with another area on the board called the Dark Alley. And this place is really cool, where there are
Expansion.
prophecies. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So there are three prophecies that cycle and then come into play. And basically, what this is every round it changes up a rule for that round. And there's also an area where you can buy special cards that give you special abilities. Now, the way it plays out is you have your workshop as your player board, and you have different types of workers. So you've got your magician, which is like you. You've got an apprentice. So you have your magician, an apprentice. You can hire two or three more apprentices, and then you can hire specialists. So an assistant, a manager, or an engineer. So your assistant is, the one on stage that, you saw in half or whatever. And then your manager obviously well, so if you have your assistant out, you get score more points basically. And if you have your manager out, you can score more money. And if your engineer, helps you build the tricks or whatever, so you get an extra trick slot if you have an engineer. Again, those are hired in the downtown area. And so you start off with your magician, an apprentice, and then one specialist. And you have to, at the beginning of the round, you pre-program which areas of the board you want those workers to go to. And then all of the actions that you take in those on those work areas, there's different actions you can take that are powered by action points, basically. And your magician gets 3 action points, your apprentice gets 1, and then your specialists get 2. And so the different actions cost different action points, obviously. All the downtown ones are like 3. And then, there's lots of different things you can do, like that you can spend action points to reroll dice or to order in components that aren't currently in the shop, different things like that. And depending on your order of getting to those areas, it might give you additional action points as well. So, for example, in a 4-player game, it plays up to 4 players, and so there's 4 spots. And if you're the first one, you can go to a spot that gives you +2 action points. The next 2 spots are only available in a 3 and 4 player game, but they give you +1 action point to. So if you send your magician and your magician has 3 action points, you go to the +2 spot. Now you have 5 action points. And then if in the fourth spot, which is in a 2-player game, you only have the first spot and the last spot. And that last spot, you get no additional action points. And yeah, so the flow of the game basically is you learn tricks, get components to prepare those tricks, and then you have to set them up in a theater and then perform them. And when you perform them, you get fame points and money. And then they also have this resource called Trickerion shards, which will give you additional action points if you spend them when you go to the various areas. And they break it up into basically everything's in 3 tiers. So when you start, you can only do level 1 tricks, and then you have to get like 16 fame before you can perform level 2 tricks. And then when you get more famous at 36 fame, then you can perform level 3 tricks. And yeah, the player at the end with the most fame is the winner. It plays over, well, depending on, it's 5 rounds with the not the the base game, quote unquote base game, and
Yeah.
then with the Dark Alley quote unquote expansion, it plays 7 rounds. So yeah, yeah. So it's basically a race.
The reason we're putting quotes on the expansion too is because like it's printed on the board, but and you know it's included in the base game. It's just it's almost like a light version of the game or a slightly heavier version of the game. And when I say light, it's pretty much there's a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah.
But you just yeah, by ignoring this expansion, you're really you're less turns. You're taking out a cool little mechanic out of there. You're taking out an extra action space. Um, I feel like if you want the full experience, you got to include the
Yeah.
it's meant to be played with it, right?
So some games they'll have like, okay, for your first game or your first couple
Yeah,
of games, ignore this part. I feel like that's what it is. For maybe
yeah,
your first game or two, you can ignore the dark alley area, but after that, you want to play with it. So
yeah, yeah. And it's fun. It's good. I like that one.
yeah,
Yeah, it changes up a bit of the like end game scoring as well in neat ways. And it also I really like that action spot. So you go to the dark alley and you can get uh, essentially cards that help you mess things up, kind of thing, right? Like they
yeah,
give you either bonus actions or change up the actions you're taking so you get some sort of other bonus while you take the action. And I like that.
yeah,
It adds just another layer to the game that I think that I find is really cool. And this is a game where, they're very clever designs, right? You have the action programmed actions that, in some games you program everything and then you have to follow that, one to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, right? In this
right,
case, you program them all, but then you have, once you get to see what your opponent has programmed, you're back and forth on selecting one of those workers to play, right? So you might have placed down, a certain order of these cards, but then decide to go in a vastly different order, right? Now they're always going to be set up in the same order because your player board is set up with your magician as the first player
yeah,
spot or whatever, right? But still, like to be able to pick and choose who goes when. Okay, we both have the same action here. I better take that before you take the action, so I can benefit from the two extra um, action points when I go there first, right?
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I really like that, and the Trickerion shards. I like that, having the ability to use those as, just that little buffer, especially with that downtown action. Because, like you said, most of the downtown actions, the three main actions cost three action points to take, right? And then you can spend one action point to re-roll a dice or two points to pick the face of a die, right? To eliminate
Mhm.
the randomness of those actions, because those actions are basically you roll the dice at the start of the round and they determine, how much coins you can get by, two of the dice are coins. So you'll score based on what die you take for the coins. Or they are spells, and those are the spells. Tricks. Here's
Yeah.
this is the tricky part with the game. I call them spells every single time because you're a magician doing magic, right? No, you're doing tricks. You're not doing magic. You're not a wizard. You're not a wizard, Harry. So the trick classes or types
Schools.
schools,
Yeah.
yes, not wizard schools, trick schools. Um, yeah, so those two dice will correspond to that, and then two other dice will correspond to what workers you can hire.
Yeah.
And I so with that space, with the say you take your wizard, you have three action points with the wizard, because it's the most efficient piece
Not a wizard, Harry.
with the magician. Oh my goodness. Three action points. They gotta re-release this game as magicians. Wait, as wizards. Oh
God.
my. Uh, so
Take a
your
breath.
magician has the is the most efficient, has the highest action points
Yep.
at 3. So you put
Yep.
your magician there, becomes 5, but you're still only able to take one of the main actions. Well, you spend a Trickerion shard, and now you have 6 points with that magician, so you can take 2 actions, which is super efficient, right? Or there's like if you can get a dark alley card that goes to downtown, you could also use that. But let's just talk about the shard, right? So that's very clever the way they set that up, right? So it really limits your actions downtown
Yeah.
unless you prepare to spend stuff to do that.
Right. And like
Mhm.
if you want to send your apprentice, the only way you can do that is if you're the first one there, right? Because then they
Mhm.
just get three. I
Exactly.
mean,
Yeah.
or in a 3 or 4 player game, you could go but and then also spend a Trickerion shard, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So I like that. I thought that's a very neat way of doing things where there was a lot of thought put into the action spaces, but also just how everything kind of combines that way and the
yeah.
thought process you have to do. Um,
Because your magician too is the only one that can perform.
yeah,
So you're
yeah,
often like, I really want to use my magician to go downtown because they have the most action points, but I need to perform this
Hmm.
turn, right? Like, because I'm falling behind in
Yeah.
fame or money or whatever. So,
And there's a few ways in the game to like get fame, just like to get certain points here or there, couple here, couple there, whatever. But performing is the main way of doing it, right? And
hmm,
you're right, yeah, you have to commit your magician to doing that. And that always feels bad because you're like, I take this turn and put my magician here and get no immediate benefits, right?
yeah.
And then it's like now I gotta wait till the final phase of this round to actually get what it is by performing those tricks, right? So
But
that's
then when
that's
the
really neat,
perf
right?
but then when the performance phase comes, like then it's a big thing. Like
Yeah,
a lot
a big
happens,
windfall. Yeah,
right?
you get your coins,
Yeah.
you get your fame, you might get Trickerion shards. Yeah, yeah. So that's yeah, it's just really well put together. This is one like yeah, we've talked before about Mindclash being just a great um publisher kind of thing, and the games they put out are just always top notch, and the quality of
Yeah.
the games too, right? So Anachrony is another one, and we've reviewed. I think we reviewed Voidfall in previous seasons,
I
maybe.
think so.
Yeah. So like they put out some really good stuff, and this one's one of their earlier ones. I guess
Hmm.
Anachrony is a pretty older one as well, but yeah, yeah, this was one of the earlier ones too, and just it still holds up. Just a really good, well put together game. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to, there's a lot of planning ahead.
Mhm.
It's deceptive, like it doesn't seem like it would be that complicated, but basically you have to plan out all of, ideally, I should say, you don't have to, but I feel like to play this game really well, you got to plan out the tricks that you're going to take all the way down. You you have to buy the components for these tricks, and money's tight like any other game, but money really is pretty tight.
Mhm.
uh and you can't get all of the components. You just, pardon me, you
You don't even
literally
have
can't
space
fit
for
them
it.
on the,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you
Exactly.
have to
Yeah.
store them on your board and there's no way to store them all. So you kind of have to go, okay, well, I'll start with these tricks, and the level 1 tricks, like, you get maybe 1 fame and 1 coin, or 2 fame and no coins, right? They're not huge, and but the more components that those tricks take, the more you will get. So I think there are a couple level 1 tricks that you might get 2 fame or 2 coins,
Yeah.
maybe a shard, but they cost more components, and then they might cost more to prepare them, like more action points to prepare them. So you're like, okay, what level 1 trick can I take that's gonna I perform once or twice and it's going to propel me enough that I can get the fame to start getting the level two
Mm,
tricks, but have enough money to buy the components for that. And then, okay, I want like a level two and a level three trick that have sort of the same components as that level one trick, because when you buy the components, you just have them, you don't spend them. It's like a threshold. So this trick will take, three wood and two glass, and as long as you have three wood and two glass, you could have more, but as long as you have those, you can do the trick. So you kind of like plan ahead. And then
yeah.
again, you're okay. This round I need to go to the bank and I need to, buy these components. And then next round maybe I can learn the trick, and go perform it. Oh, but can I? Can I learn the trick and prepare the trick and set the trick up in the theater and perform, like, so it you got to plan those turns ahead,
Yeah.
because it
And
it can take it takes at least two workers, your magician and somebody backstage, to prepare the trick, right? So
and then you also have to manage that fame track because if you bump up early, the way first player is decided turn by turn is whoever has the least amount of fame becomes the first player,
yeah.
and that first player, right at the start of the round, you can take this. Both players can take an advertise um, action, and first player plays one coin and gets two fame. Okay? And then in a two-player game, the second player has to pay three coins to get the two fame, right?
Yeah.
And like Jordan said earlier, money's tight. One coin for two fame, that seems like a good deal. But three coins for two, I don't think either of us did that ever. Yeah,
Nope.
yeah. 7 rounds, not once did we touch that. I couldn't afford it 90% of the game. I think there was maybe one turn where I started the round with three coins, and I was like, nah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but the one, I think we took it every time we could, right?
Every time,
So,
yeah.
because it's yeah. So you're managing that, but not only that, you have to manage that you land into the tiers, like into that second tier, that 16 points, so that you can get the level two tricks. And then the level three tricks at the appropriate time, right? Because you can plan out
Yeah.
going, I'm going to do this. I got this stuff for this trick, and then I'm going to buy the trick, and oh no, I can't buy that trick because I don't have my fame high enough, right?
Yep.
So yeah,
And
you
it
gotta
and
you gotta really watch that.
And if you're like a point or two behind in fame, right? Well,
Yeah,
that's a whole other round it sets you back.
yeah. You
And
gotta
there's
find a
only
way
seven.
to like nickel and dime that up, which is hard to do because they're few and far between different ways to do that. Or yeah, exactly. You got to wait till your performance to get fame, and then you'll blow past that spot, and you're like, yeah, but I could have used the level two trick in this production kind of phase, this show,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So what I like too is that you get this book of tricks. It's not a book of spells, it's a book of tricks. And you can really plan out what you want to do. And so that, we sat there at the start of the game for like 5, 10 minutes or whatever, just kind of going, okay, if I go with, if I, you get a free trick at the start. If I go with this trick, then those are the same components for this second level trick, or at least
Yeah.
not a big jump between those, and then maybe I can tack on this third level trick, and I'm still using the birds that I'm getting from the second level trick, so that'll work, right? The doves that I get from there, right?
Yeah.
And I like that because it gives you that sort of, right at the start of the game, I was looking at it. I was looking at my school of tricks and going, okay, how do I do this? And it took a bit to see a pattern there, and then finally I was like, okay, if I go this one, then my next spell could be between these two, and then the third spell I knew was going to be, this one down here or whatever, right? And those third tricks, not spells, that third trick gives you another scoring, um, another way to score at the end of the game. So in my case, the one that I picked said if you have four tricks, you score an extra 10 points, right? So I knew, okay, I'll get the three that I'm trying for, and then I just have to pick one somewhere else. So during the game, doesn't matter as long as I can learn the trick, then I'm fine. I don't even have to really prep it at all, right?
No, you just
Um,
yeah, you have to have the components
yeah, you have to have the components
to
so you have the ability
yeah.
to prep it. But I ended up prepping it anyways because I had the workshop uh, points going there. I took the workshop action and you could do that. Um, but yeah, I like that. It's a really good thought process. You got to plan that out, and the game's all about
Yeah.
planning, right? Okay, when do I do the show? When do I get those new tricks? When do I build the tricks? And then you're managing buying the components and all that, and then because you have different levels of the components, you're trying to like bring them into the shop and you're replacing the level one components. And then there's a thought process of, okay, is my opponent going to need these, level one glass? Well, I'm going to try and replace the glass out of the market so that,
Yeah.
he doesn't have that anymore kind of thing, right? So yeah, there was one
Would
that first round you had like put on oil to come in for the next round. Well, I happened
yeah.
to get a card in the dark alley that allowed me to steal a resource from the market and replace it with a basic resource. So as soon as that oil came in, I was like, and I steal it on my turn and take it away and then it was like, oh,
It-
but that type of thing was like, okay, I'm putting him back. I know he wants oil. I'm
yeah.
putting him back a turn now to bring that
It
oil in, right?
literally changed my whole game
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I had planned this path of tricks to learn out. And with you taking that oil away, I would have had to order it again, which would take another round for it to come in,
Yep, yep.
unless I wanted to there is a way that you can like express order or whatever and buy it right away, but then you're paying extra to do so, and it was
Hmm.
already like a level 2 component. And I just didn't have the money. So I'm like, I can't afford the the extra round before I'm getting level 2 spells.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was brutal. It was a good play.
And then I tried to set up like the first few rounds, just setting myself up. And I think in like round two or round three, you had did the first sort of magic show, right?
Mhm.
And you blasted up in points. And for a bit I was like, okay, I intended to kind of be behind, but I got worried because you were ahead of me by like 10 points right at the start, and I was like, did I make a big mistake here? Because now you've got a big lead, and does he just keep moving that lead forward, and I'm just stuck always trying to play catch up there. But the tricky part is that when you do have a big show like that, and you've prepped all these tricks and done that, you're usually kind of spent, right? Then you need to build
Yeah.
up again to be able to do that again, right? So and that's kind of the beauty of this game is that it's not like rapid fire. You can do all this stuff. No, you got a plan. Then you do your show. Then you plan up again. You do your show. You plan up again, right? It very rarely do you get like back-to-back shows until the end of the game kind of thing, right? Like I think our
Right.
last two rounds were like back-to-back shows for like both of us kind of thing, just because by that time you likely have tricks built in multiple theaters and then can kind of take advantage that way, right? Or
Yeah.
you the last round was for both of us, it was like, okay, we're taking a bunch of theater actions just to like pack our theaters and with tricks and this and that, whatever, right? Just to get ready for the big finale shows kind of thing, right? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's
Because
a really it's neat.
I mean, I tried to perform early so that I could get a jump in those points because in my head I was like, I need those level 2 spells as quickly as possible.
Hmm.
Not spells, tricks. I need those level 2 tricks as soon as possible because it is quite the jump. Like you can't just if you just got a couple level 1 spells and just kept doing those, even if you let's say you could prepare them and perform them every round, you would still fall so far behind
Yeah, yeah,
because like I said, they're worth maybe two fame each. And okay, and then you're performing them ideally in multiple times. So you can
yeah,
prepare that trick 2 or 3 times. You put that in 2 or 3 theaters, and then if we both perform, let's say, as long as you have tricks in each of those theaters, even if your opponent is performing, if your trick is in that theater, you're going to get the points for it that that trick is worth.
you have like
Um,
royalties on your tricks. Yeah,
yeah. Well, in the rule book it says you're a guest performer
yeah, yeah,
during the show. Yeah. But then the actual performer gets a bunch of extra stuff too
yeah, yeah.
from the theater shoot from the theater and whatever. Just smack my mic there. Um but you go to level 2 tricks and you're into 3, 4, maybe 5
Yeah,
fame per
yeah.
trick, right?
And extra
And then you're
money.
multiplying
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
for the
And
number and
potentially, yeah, Trickerion stones. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. And then level 3 again, there's a jump to, 6, 7 points, 8 points per trick, and you're multiplying that by the number of times you can get it out, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's you gotta start with those small ones, but use that to sort of build up the bigger ones as fast as possible, and then perform your big tricks as many times as possible. But you also don't want to like wait too long trying to prepare stuff
yeah,
either. It's
yeah. And that's what, yeah, I was sitting there going, did I wait too long? Did I make a big mistake already? Right.
hmm
And there's a lot to decide right at the start too, right? Where it's like, that might have been a bad choice, right? But you work through it and you kind of figure out ways. And yeah, it's so well done, this one. The level 1 to level 2 growth, the level 2 to level 3 growth. It, I can't stress enough like how much it's mind-boggling how well it works together, right? Because you really are. We talked last week about It's a Wonderful Kingdom, right? And you're building your kingdom through those gray cards to the upgrade card, right? The gray cards gives you the resources, and then the upgraded cards, right? This takes that and really next levels it, makes it like this is greatness right here, right? Where that one I was like, yeah, it's good, but it's not great, right?
right.
This is great, right? You feel really good. Oh, okay, I'm planning this out, and then when you can just like get the tricks that you want right at the right moment, and I love that I'm putting my tricks on multiple stages so that, if yes, you're presenting that, but at least I'm trickling in some points because I'm guest appearing in your show or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I love that. That's so cool. That's such a amazing one. Like you could fill up a card and have every spot except for one, and then I put one in there that, a third level that scores 9 points. That's a big point scoring thing off of your show kind of thing, right?
Yep.
Or even like earlier on, if I'm putting my second level trick and you got a couple first levels and a second level in there, I'm still getting a decent amount of points for that time frame in the game, like for where you are in the game, right? So yeah, so well done, and very lot of cool decisions you have to make with that.
And I remember at one point in our game, there's 3 theaters out on the board. And that's it, right? In a 2-player game, that's it. No more than 3 are gonna if the show in the third slot isn't done, it drops off.
Yeah, yeah,
And only Thomas was performing. So And I'm like, well, I want to get my tricks in his show. And I'm like, but how do I distribute them? Because if I
Yeah.
put two tricks in this theater and one in another theater, I know Thomas's mind. He's just not going to do that show, and
Yep.
it'll drop off. And he'll do the show that has none of my tricks in it just to spite me. So
100%. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so like I spread them out, and you were like, "Oh, interesting."
But 100%, yeah, you read it perfectly because that's definitely what I would have done, right? There was a one round in the game where we both were doing theater actions. You weren't probably the same thing. You weren't going to do an actual show, and only I was doing the show. And yeah, I had planned on like, oh, I'm gonna wait as long as I can to prepare my tricks, so I see where yours are, and then I'll just like pile in on one and do that area. But sure enough, I got down to it. And I was first player, so then I was running out of actions first, and then it was like, okay, I have to show where I'm going here. And
Yeah,
sure
yeah,
enough, then you could pile onto those, and I was like, ah, I could have had all these, you know, and the round here, and then I'll do the shows, right? So, but yeah, yeah,
yeah,
it is what it is, right? And I love that you can look over to your opponents and see where they're going, because there was a few times where like I'd have a spot that I wanted to get to, and I was like, I really want to go there first, and I'd look over and I'd be like, you didn't prep that card at all. So I
yeah,
can take that last and still get exactly what I wanted with the +2 points kind of thing. And I think that's so cool. Yeah, it just
yeah,
adds another layer of being able to strategize what to do, right? And looking over and seeing, oh, your magician is going to the theater, so you're clearly, going to have a show this time. So I want to get some tricks out there before you take up all the spots that I would put to, right? And
yeah.
sometimes it becomes a race of, can I get tricks out there fast enough, or do I have to go to the workshop first to build the tricks and then go to and put tricks out, right? And sometimes just that extra turn means all the difference in when things come out, and
Oh,
that's yeah,
100%.
yeah, yeah,
That happened to me a bunch where I wanted to prep the turn before, couldn't, so I had to go to the workshop.
yeah. And
And
then it
yeah,
like
and it's
it
brutal.
it shows what you're kind of planning, right? And they're like, oh, he's prepping those, he's going there
Yeah,
next,
yeah.
right? So yeah, no,
And there's a bunch more too that we haven't talked about because we don't have time.
yeah, yeah.
But like, and
We
yeah,
have
this
40
game,
seconds left.
there's a lot of nuance, lot of strategizing. It's just like this is definitely one of my top 10 games. It's so much fun. Like I said, I can't believe we haven't played it more.
Yeah, yeah, it's so good, and I would play this forever. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever get bored of this one.
And that wraps up another episode of the Current Plays podcast. Check us out next week on YouTube or your favorite podcast provider. But until then, good gaming and good night.
Good night, folks.